The radio crackled just after midnight. It wasn't unusual. Fire lookouts hear strange sounds all the time. Storm interference, hunters checking weather, lost hikers calling emergency frequencies. But this voice was different. It spoke calmly, almost casually. "Lookout Station 12. This is Ranger Ellis. I found the smoke. I'm heading north." The fire lookout froze, because Ranger Thomas Ellis had officially disappeared 17 years earlier, and according to every search report, his radio had never been recovered. So who, or what, was speaking tonight? Deep inside the Bitter Ridge National Forest stood Fire Lookout Station 12, a lonely wooden tower balanced on a mountain peak. For nearly 70 years, its only purpose had been watching forests burn before anyone else noticed. Most shifts were painfully quiet. The current lookout, Daniel Mercer, had worked there for 6 summers. He preferred solitude. No traffic, no city lights, only endless mountains stretching beneath the stars. Each evening followed the same routine: weather reports, wind speed, smoke scans, radio checks. Then silence, until the storm arrived. Clouds swallowed the moon. Lightning flashed behind distant peaks. The old radio began producing sharp bursts of static. Daniel adjusted the frequency. Nothing. Static again. Then, a human voice. "Station 12, this is Ranger Ellis." Daniel instinctively answered. "Identify yourself." A pause. Then the reply. "I'm near Black Pine Creek. Smoke column visible. Visibility dropping." Daniel opened every forest map. Black Pine Creek. No ranger had patrolled there in years. The area had been permanently closed after the disappearance. His heartbeat accelerated. He searched the old incident archive stored inside a dusty cabinet. Missing personnel. Year, 17 years earlier. Name, Thomas Ellis. Last known radio transmission, investigating smoke near Black Pine Creek. Daniel slowly looked back toward the radio. The transmission matched, almost word for word. Was separated by 17 years. Before Daniel could answer, the signal disappeared. Only static remained. The next morning, the batteries inside the radio were completely dead. Yet according to the transmission log, the radio had been active for almost 11 minutes. Daniel couldn't stop thinking about the call. He contacted Forest headquarters. Most employees laughed. Old equipment, atmospheric interference, someone playing a prank. But one retired dispatcher didn't laugh. She became silent, then quietly asked, "Did he mention Black Pine Creek?" Daniel's stomach tightened. She whispered, "That's exactly what he said before he disappeared." The retired dispatcher revealed something that had never appeared in public reports. Search teams had located Ranger Ellis's truck, his boots, his backpack, even fresh footprints. But the footprints simply stopped. No cliff, no river, no animal tracks, just empty ground, as if the mountain itself had erased him. Before hanging up, she offered one warning. "If he calls again, don't answer immediately." Daniel asked why. She refused to explain. That evening, the storm returned, exactly like the night before. 11:47 p.m. Static. Then the same calm voice. "Station 12, do you copy?" Daniel hesitated, remembering the warning. He stayed silent. The voice continued. "Daniel." He froze. He had never given his name. "Don't come looking." Static swallowed the signal. Then, another voice suddenly interrupted. Panicked, breathing heavily. "Run!" The transmission ended. Daniel stared at the silent radio. Who had been screaming? Ellis? Someone else? Or someone listening from the other side? Unable to ignore it, Daniel reviewed archived search photographs. One image caught his attention. Behind the abandoned ranger truck, barely visible between the trees, stood a fire lookout tower. Impossible. There had never been another tower near Black Pine Creek. He enlarged the photograph. The tower looked almost identical to Station 12. The photograph had been taken 3 years before Station 12 was even built. Daniel made a decision. Against every protocol, he would hike to Black Pine Creek. The trail was overgrown. Old warning signs had collapsed decades earlier. The forest grew strangely quiet. No birds, no insects. Even the wind seemed absent. Near sunset, he found the ranger truck, exactly where the reports claimed. Rust covered every surface. Trees had grown through the frame. Yet one detail looked impossible. Fresh boot prints surrounded it, leading deeper into the woods. Daniel followed. Minutes later, the trees opened. Standing alone was a wooden fire lookout tower. Identical. Every window, every railing, even the faded station number. Station 12, but older, much older. Its stairs creaked beneath each step. Inside, everything appeared frozen in time. Coffee still sat beside the radio. Maps covered the desk. A logbook remained open. Daniel slowly turned the pages. The final entry read, "Storm approaching. Radio interference increasing. Receiving calls from myself." A loud burst of static exploded behind him. The old radio activated by itself. "Daniel," he turned. The speaker continued, "Leave now." Then another voice, older, terrified. "Don't let him answer." The room, lights flickered. Outside, Daniel looked through the tower windows. Another person stood below, wearing an old ranger uniform, face hidden beneath rain. He slowly looked upward, raised the radio microphone, and spoke. Daniel heard the words from both outside and inside the radio at exactly the same time. "Station 12, this is Ranger Ellis." Daniel realized the horrifying truth. Ellis had never vanished. He had become trapped inside whatever impossible loop existed around the mountain. Every radio call echoed across years. Every storm reopened the connection. Every lookout eventually heard it. Daniel grabbed the logbook, ran downstairs, never looking back. Forest headquarters officially closed Daniel's report. Cause listed: equipment malfunction, psychological fatigue. No further investigation recommended. Daniel resigned the following week. The tower remains operational today. Each summer, a new fire lookout volunteers for the position. Most complete the season without incident. But every few years, a maintenance log contains one handwritten note, always identical. Received unidentified transmission during storm. Male voice requesting assistance near Black Pine Creek. No one knows why those reports continue. No one has ever found Ranger Thomas Ellis. And every official investigation insists the voice cannot exist. Yet if you ever hike through the Bitter Ridge wilderness during a summer storm, and you hear an old radio calling your name, experts say you should ignore it, because the people who answer may become the next voice someone hears 17 years later. If you were alone in that lookout tower and heard a radio call from someone who disappeared 17 years ago, would you answer? Tell us what you would do in the comments. And if you enjoy mountain mysteries inspired by wilderness legends, subscribe to the Mountain Tribe for another story waiting beyond the tree line.